Welcome to Ancient Olympia for the flame lighting ceremony ahead of the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026. Normally, the entirety of this iconic and historic ceremony takes place in and next to the Temple of Hera. But alas, the weather gods have not smiled on us this time. And so today's proceedings will be held inside the Archaeological Museum of Olympia. There is the site where this ceremony would normally take place. The dignitaries would normally be sat down here. As you can see, the ground a bit sodden and wet. We've had 2 days of solid rain, and the weather forecast for today was not good, shall we say. And if you have seen previous ceremonies of this sort, the flame is lit by the reflection of the sun's rays via a parabolic mirror. At the weekend, the forecast was for heavy rain and cloud, which have not materialised, although there is a risk of rain later on. So the organisers adopted the contingency plan, which was to perform the traditional flame lighting ceremony in advance. So on Monday, when the sun did appear over Ancient Olympia, the flame was lit, and the flame has remained lit since then, and will do so until the closing ceremony of the Milano Cortina Games on the 22nd of February. So we will see footage from the flame lighting incorporated into today's ceremony. You can see there the Presidential Guard of the Hellenic Republic. That is the official name for Greece. Ancient Olympia is, of course, the birthplace of the Olympic Games, which were reportedly first held in 776 BC. As well as an athletic event, this was part of a religious festival dedicated to Zeus, the king of the gods in Greek mythology. The ancient Olympics continued until around the end of the 4th century AD. The Olympic Games were revived by Baron Pierre de Coubertin, with the first modern Olympics held in Athens in 1896. Of course, this is the flame lighting ceremony for Milano Cortina 2026, which will be the 25th edition of the Olympic Winter Games. The first were held in Chamonix, France in 1924. As you can see, this drone shot moving from near the Temple of Hera towards the Archaeological Museum of Olympia, which will host today's proceedings. This will, of course, be the first flame lighting ceremony for Kirsty Coventry as IOC president. She was elected as the first female president of the International Olympic Committee in March, and she succeeded Thomas Bach in June. We will hear a speech from her and from the president of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, Isidoros Kouvelos. His first flame lighting ceremony in that role, having succeeded Spiros Kapralos earlier this year. We'll have anthems performed in the Archaeological Museum. Poetry recital as well. Speeches, as mentioned. We'll also have a speech from the president of the Milano Cortina 2026 Organising Committee, Giovanni Malago. Just waiting for the arrival of the dignitaries.
Τελετή αφής της Ολυμπιακής Φλόγας των 25ων χειμερινών Ολυμπιακών Αγώνων Milano Cortina 2026. Lighting ceremony of the Olympic flame for the 25th Winter Olympic Games Milano Cortina 2026.
And here is the Greek president. Second from the right, Konstantinos Tassoulas. Another person here in this role for the first time, next to Kirsty Coventry there, as you can see. Tassoulas became Greek president in March, taking over from Katerina Sakelaropoulou. There is Thomas Bach. With President Tassoulas. There is Spiros Kapralos as well, just in the background. The former president of the Hellenic Olympic Committee. A mix of familiar and new faces at this flame lighting ceremony. Shortly we will hear from our MC for proceedings. Our MC today is Dora Anagnostopoulou. As you can see, all very light-hearted. Now the dignitaries move to their positions and the ceremony can begin.
Εξοχότατε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Δημοκρατίας, αξιότιμε κύριε εκπρόσωπε της ελληνικής κυβέρνησης, αξιότιμη κυρία Πρόεδρε της Διεθνούς Ολυμπιακής Επιτροπής, αξιότιμε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Ελληνικής Ολυμπιακής Επιτροπής, αξιότιμε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Οργανωτικής Επιτροπής των Χειμερινών Ολυμπιακών και Παραολυμπιακών Αγώνων Μιλάνο Κορτίνα 2026, αξιότιμε κύριε Δήμαρχε της Αρχαίας Ολυμπίας, κυρίες και κύριοι. Είναι ιδιαίτερη τιμή μου που βρίσκομαι εδώ ανάμεσά σας στην ιερή γη της Ολυμπίας, στον τόπο που γεννήθηκε το φως που ενώνει τους λαούς. Από εδώ, όπου η αιώνια φλόγα ανάβει ξανά, ξεκινώντας το ταξίδι της ελπίδας, της ειρήνης και της αδελφοσύνης προς το Μιλάνο και την Κορτίνα, όπου στις αρχές του 2026 θα λάβουν χώρα οι 25η χειμερινοί Ολυμπιακοί Αγώνες. Your Excellency, the President of the Hellenic Republic, honored representative of the Hellenic government, President of the International Olympic Committee, President of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, President of the Organizing Committee of the Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games Milano Cortina 2026, Mayor of Ancient Olympia, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to be here with you today at the sacred grounds of Olympia, the birthplace of the light that unites all nations. It is here where the eternal flame is ignited in a journey of hope, peace, and friendship ahead of the 25th Winter Olympic Games Milano Cortina 2026. È con profondo onore ed emozione che do il benvenuto alla delegazione italiana di Milano Cortina 2026 qui al sacro luogo di Olympia. Ας ξεκινήσουμε τη σημερινή τελετή αφής εδώ στον φιλόξενο Αρχαιολογικό Μουσείο της Ολυμπίας με τον Ολυμπιακό ύμνο. Παρακαλούνται όσοι δύνανται να σηκωθούν όρθιοι. Let us begin the lighting ceremony here at the welcoming Archaeological Museum of Olympia with the Olympic anthem. Please stand for those who are able. Ο Ολυμπιακός ύμνος ερμηνεύεται από την κολορατούρα σοπράνο Χριστίνα Πουλίτσι. Please welcome the coloratura soprano Christina Pulizzi.
Αρχαίο πνεύμα θάνατο, αγνέ πατέρα του Ρήγου του Μεγάλου και των Λιθινών, κατέβα φανερό σου κι όστραψε εδώ πέρα στη δόξα
And now for the national anthem of Italy, the host nation of the Milano Cortina Games, to be sang by the Italian School of Athens.
For the national anthem of Italy, the host country of the 25th Winter Olympic Games.
And now the Greek national anthem, also performed by the Italian School of Athens, which is the only Italian school in all of Greece. You'll now hear a poem entitled The Light of Olympia, written by local poet Takis Dokshas and recited by actor Giannis Stankoglu.
Those national anthems. Mille grazie. Το ποίημα «Το φως της Ολυμπίας» του ήλιου ποιητή Τάκη Δόξα υμνεί την ιερή φλόγα ως σύμβολο ειρήνης, ενότητας και ανθρώπινης ανάτασης. Το απαγγέλει ο ηθοποιός Γιάννης Στάνκογλου. There is a special poem called The Light of Olympia. It was written by poet Takis Doxas, who was born and raised in this very region. Please welcome Giannis Stánkoglou, who will recite The Light of Olympia.
Από τα ποταμίσια χείλη του Αλφιού και από του Δία το πέτρινο μάτι, μέσα από τα πληγωμένα μάρμαρα, εδώ, σε τούτη την παρθενική μήτρα της Ολυμπίας, που δεν άλλαξε, δεν μολεύτηκε, δεν θα πεθάνει ποτέ. Εδώ θα ξαναγεννηθεί το φως. Σπίθα του Θεού, κρυμμένη στη στάχτη της καρδιάς του Κούπερντεν, που θα τη θεργέψει με την ανάσα της η Καλυπάτηρα, η Ελληνίδα μάνα, μάνα κάθε ανθρώπου. Από εδώ θα φύγει ο άγγελος για να φέρει το μεγάλο μήνυμα. Πες τους να ξεκινήσουν όλοι για την Ολυμπία. Χιλιάδες έφηβοι, σμάρια από κορμιά, άσπρα, μαύρα, κίτρινα, να πάνε να ξεπληθούν κοντά στην παλέστρα. Απ' το χθες, απ' το σήμερα, απ' το αύριο. Να λείψουν με λάδι την ψυχή και το νου τους. Και ύστερα να μπουν απ' την ορθάνυχτη πύλη στο στάδιο για να πολεμήσουν. Όχι στη σφαγή και στην πυρκαγιά. Όχι με το μαχαίρι και το σίδερο που καίει. Όχι με το ξολοθερμό του ανθρώπου από τον άνθρωπο. Όχι για νέους νεκρούς, νέους σακάτιδες, νέους δυστυχισμένους, μα για την πυγμή και το ακόντιο, για το πήδημα, το δίσκο, το δρόμο, την πάλη, για το τέθρυπο, για την αρετή. Πέρα στο ξέφωτο η Ολυμπία, ξάγρυπνη, μερόνυχτα πλέκει για τον καθένα τους και από ένα στεφάνι αγριλιά ελληνικής ειρήνης. Ειρήνης όλου του κόσμου.
Time now for the first of our speeches from the mayor of Ancient Olympia, Aristides Panagiotopoulou.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
Okay.
welcome the mayor of Ancient Olympia, the town honored to host the Olympic flame lighting ceremony, Mr. Aristides Panagiotopoulou.
Εξοχότατε, κύριε
Your Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic,
αξιότιμη πρόεδρε
dear
της Διεθνούς
President
Ολυμπιακής
of the
Επιτροπής,
International Olympic Committee,
αξιότιμε πρόεδρε της
President
Ελληνικής
of the
Ολυμπιακής,
Hellenic Olympic Committee,
αξιότιμε πρόεδρε
President
της Διεθνούς Ολυμπιακής
of the
Ακαδημίας,
International Olympic Academy,
αξιότιμε πρόεδρε
President
της Οργανωτικής
of the
Επιτροπής
Organizing
Milano
Committee Milano Cortina 2026,
αξιότιμε Υπουργέ Αθλητισμού της
Minister
Ιταλίας,
of Sports from Italy,
αξιότιμε εκπρόσωπε
representative of the Hellenic government,
αξιότιμοι πρέσβεις,
ambassadors,
αξιότιμοι κύριοι Υπουργοί,
ministers,
κύριε Περιφερειάρχα,
regional governor,
εκλεκτοί προσκεκλημένοι,
dear
κυρίες
guests,
και κύριοι.
ladies and gentlemen.
Σας καλωσορίζουμε
We welcome you
στην αρχαία
to
Ολυμπία.
ancient Olympia,
Στον τόπο
in the
που
place
επιλέχθηκε από τους
chosen by
αρχαίους
the
Έλληνες
ancient Greeks,
να
to
φιλοξενήσει
host
και να δώσει
and give
σχήμα και
shape
μορφή
and form
σε αυτό που σήμερα
to what
ονομάζουμε
today we call
παγκόσμιο
global
αθλητικό
sporting
και
and
πολιτιστικό
cultural
ιδεώδες.
ideal.
Εδώ
Here,
που η ιστορία
where
δεν
history
βρίσκεται
is
πίσω
not
μας,
behind us,
αλλά ζει
but
και
lives
αναπνέει
and
γύρω.
breathes around us,
Χαραγμένη στο τοπίο,
engraved the landscape,
φυλαγμένη στις μνήμες,
preserved in memories,
ζωντανή στα
alive
μονοπάτια
the
που
paths
ενώνουν
that
τα
connect
ιερά, το
sanctuaries,
στάδιο και
stadiums,
τους μύθους,
and myths,
που εξακολουθεί
which
να
continues to
εμπνέει,
inspire
να διδάσκει
each
και να
and
υπενθυμίζει
remind
ότι η
that
ειρήνη,
peace,
η άμυλα
fair play,
και η
and
ανθρώπινη
human
υπέρβαση
transcendence
μπορούν να
can be
γεννηθούν
born
από μια
from
μικρή
a small
κοιλάδα
valley
και να γίνουν
and
παγκόσμιο
become
φως.
a global light.
Η δύναμη αυτού του
The
τόπου
power of this place
δεν είναι μουσιακή.
is not museum-like.
Είναι επίκαιρη,
It is timely,
είναι
it
ζωντανή,
is alive,
είναι βαθιά
and
ανθρώπινη.
deeply human.
Οι συμβολισμοί
Its
και οι
symbolism
αξίες
and
του,
values,
τόσο οικίες σε
so
όλους μας,
familiar to all
είναι
of us,
αναγκαίες
are
σήμερα όσο
needed
ποτέ.
today more than ever.
Από εδώ
For here
ξεκινούσε
began for
επί
centuries
αιώνες
the
η υπενθύμηση
reminder
ότι ο
that
άνθρωπος
man
αξίζει μια
deserves
ζωή
a life
χωρίς φόβο.
without fear.
Χωρίς τον ίσκιο του
Without
πολέμου
the shadow of war,
και η Ολυμπιακή
the Olympic
εκεχηρία
truce
υπήρξε
was the
το
first
πρώτο
global
παγκόσμιο
no
όχι στη βία.
violence.
Το πρώτο
The first
οργανωμένο,
organized,
νομικό
legal,
και ηθικό
and
πλαίσιο
moral framework
προστασίας
for
της
the
ανθρώπινης
protection
ζωής.
of human life.
Κι όμως σήμερα
And yet,
η ανθρωπότητα
they
διασχίζει μια εποχή πολλαπλών και παράλληλων κρίσεων. Οι πόλεμοι
wars are
πολλαπλασιάζονται
multiplying
από την
in
Ευρώπη
Europe
μέχρι
to
τη
the
Μέση
Middle
Ανατολή,
East and
την
from
Ασία μέχρι την
Asia
Αφρική.
to Africa.
Θα πρέπει λοιπόν
So
να
we
παραδεχθούμε
must all
με
accept
ειλικρίνεια
being failed society.
μέσα σε αυτό
In
το
this
τοπίο
landscape
αβεβαιότητας,
of uncertainty,
η ανθρωπότητα χρειάζεται
humanity
σταθερές.
needs constants.
Χρειάζεται σημεία
It needs
αναφοράς
points of
που
reference
απευθύνονται από
that
το
do
Θεό.
not deteriorate over time.
Και μία από αυτές
And
τις
one of these
σταθερές
constants
θα είναι
will
πάντα
always
η
be
αρχαία Ολυμπία.
ancient
Και η
Olympia
Ολυμπιακή
and the
φλόγα που
Olympic
ανάβει σήμερα.
flame that will be lit
Μια
today.
φλόγα
A
που
flame
ορθώνεται
that rises
σαν
as a
χειρονομία
gesture of
ανθρωπής,
humanity,
σαν
as
κάλεσμα
a call
σε έναν
to
κόσμο
a
που
world
δεν θα
that
συνηθίσει
would
ποτέ τη
never
βία.
get used to violence.
Μια υπενθύμηση
Reminder
ότι ο
that
πολιτισμός
civilization is
χτίζεται
built
όταν ο
when
άνθρωπος
man is
προστατεύεται.
protected,
Όταν
when
η ζωή
life
έχει αξία
has
υπέρπεδη και όχι
and not
σχετική.
relative value,
Όταν η
when
αξιοπρέπεια
dignity
είναι
is
αδιαπραγμάτευτη.
non-negotiable.
Ή όπως έλεγε
Or,
ο
as
Γκάντι,
Gandhi used to say,
όταν η
the
δύναμη της
day
αγάπης
the power of love
νικήσει την αγάπη της
overrules
δύναμης,
the love of power,
έχουμε ειρήνη.
the world will know peace.
Θέλω σήμερα να μιλήσω
I
καθαρά
want to speak
αυτό
clearly
το φως.
about this light,
Όχι μόνο ως
not
δήμαρχος
only as a
ενός
mayor
τόπου
of a
ιδιαίτερου,
land that is
αλλά ως
important,
πολίτης
but as
ενός
a
κόσμου
citizen of a
που
world
δοκιμάζεται.
that is being tested.
Η αφή της φλόγας
The lighting of the flame
μας επιτρέπει να
allows us
θυμηθούμε
to
ξανά
speak again
τις αξίες
about the
που
values
δίνουν
that give
προσανατολισμό στην
direction to
ανθρωπότητα.
humanity,
Αξίες που
values
γεννήθηκαν
that
και
were born
φιλοξενήθηκαν
and
εδώ.
forged here,
Αξίες που
values that
αναγνωρίζονται
are
ως
recognized
θεμέλιο
as the
της κοινής
foundation
μας μοίρας.
of our common destiny.
Η συναδέλφωση,
Fellowship,
ο σεβασμός στη
respect
ζωή,
for life,
η δικαιοσύνη,
justice,
η αριστεία,
excellence,
η ευγενής
fair
άμυλα
play,
και βέβαια
and of
η
course,
ειρήνη.
peace.
Σε έναν κόσμο
In a world
όπου η
where
απληστία
greed
και η
and
ματαιοδοξία
vanity
κυριαρχούν,
dominate,
η ένταση
tension
κλιμακώνεται,
escalates,
η λογική
reason
σιωπά,
is silent,
τα όπλα
and
μείνουν,
weapons speak,
η Ολυμπία
Olympia
ζητά κάτι
asks
συγκεκριμένο.
for something very specific.
Να υψωθεί
Let the
ξανά η
voice
φωνή μιας
of universal
οικουμενικής
morality
ηθικής.
be raised again.
Μιας ηθικής
A
που
morality
θέτει τον
that puts
άνθρωπο στο
human being
κέντρο.
at the center.
Μιας
A
ηθικής
morality
που
that
αρνείται να
refuses to
συνηθίσει με
get
τους
used
πολέμους.
to war.
Μιας
A
ηθικής
morality
που
that
θεωρεί
takes for
αυτονόητη
granted
την
the
προστασία
protection
των
of
παιδιών
children and
και των
civilians
μονάχων σε
across
κάθε γωνιά
every
του
corner of the
πλανήτη.
planet.
Η φλόγα
Flame
δεν μπορεί να
cannot
σταματήσει
stop
τον
the
πόλεμο.
war.
Μπορεί όμως να
It can
φωτίσει
shed
μέσα
light
στο ζωφερό
in the
σκοτάδι.
gloomy darkness.
Μπορεί να δείξει
It
τον
can show
δρόμο.
the way.
Και αυτό
And this
είναι το
is the
μέτρο της
measure of
διαχρονίας
its
της.
timelessness.
Είναι ο λόγος
It is
που η
the
ανθρώπινη
reason
συνείδηση
why human
πάντα
consciousness
σε αυτό.
always returns to
Η
it.
Ολυμπία
Olympia
μπορεί να γίνει
will once
ξανά
again become
τόπος
a meeting
συνάντησης
place
πριν γίνει
before it
τόπος
becomes
τελετής.
a place of ceremony.
Γιατί ο κόσμος
As
χρειάζεται
the world
έναν
needs a
ουδέτερο,
neutral,
ηθικά
morally
ακέραιο
intact
τόπο,
place
όπου η
where
αξία
the
της
value of
ζωής
life
μιλά
is
πιο δυνατά από
louder
τις
than
διαφωνίες.
disagreements.
Τον τόπο
A
που
place
μετασχημάτισε
that transforms
τις αξίες
values
σε
into
πράξη
action
και τους συμβολισμούς
and
σε θεσμιά.
symbolisms into an institution.
Φίλες και φίλοι,
Dear friends,
από την
from
Ολυμπία
Olympia
ξεκινά μια
begins a
φλόγα
flame
που
that
σηματοδοτεί
marks
κάτι
more
περισσότερο από
than just
ιστορία.
history,
σηματοδοτεί τη
signals the
δυνατότητα ενός
possibility of
καλύτερου
a
αύριο.
better tomorrow.
Ας την αφήσουμε
Let us
λοιπόν
allow
να μας
it to
καθοδηγήσει.
guide us.
Ας μας θυμίσει
Let us
ότι ο κόσμος
remind us
δεν
that the
χτίζεται
world
με
is not
φόβο,
built with
αλλά με
fear, but
θάρρος.
with courage.
Και ίσως
Perhaps then
τότε
we,
να καταφέρουμε
as humanity,
ως ανθρωπότητα, όπως θα έλεγε ο
will be
ποιητής,
able
να αποδίδουμε
justice
δικαιοσύνη με ένα
with a
άστρο
star
ή με ένα
or
γεσεμί
jasmine
ή με ένα κλαδί
or
αγκαλιάς θα
with a
προσθέσω
wreath
εγώ.
of
Σας
olive
ευχαριστώ
tree.
πάρα
Thank you
πολύ.
so much for your attention.
We'll now hear from the president of the organising committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, Milano Cortina 2026, Giovanni Malago.
Καλούμε τον πρόεδρο της, κύριο Giovanni Malago, να απευθύνει χαιρετισμό. The organizing committee for the Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games, Milano Cortina 2026, honors today's ceremony with a large delegation. We invite its president, Mr. Giovanni Malago, to address the audience.
Your Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Konstantinos Tassoulas, Madame President of the International Olympic Committee, Kirsty Coventry, President Thomas Bach, Minister of Sport and Youth, Andrea Bodi, dear Mayor of Ancient Olympia, dear IOC colleagues and friends of the Olympic movement, members of the institutions, distinguished guests. Standing here today, it's impossible not to be inspired and moved by the sheer weight of a history and tradition that sits at the heart of our great Olympic movement. Here, in this very special location, where athletes came together to compete nearly 3,000 years ago, we are able to draw a clear line connecting the ancient and modern games. Every 4 years, ancient Greeks will light a flame as an act of sacred worship to Zeus, acknowledging his supreme status as king of the gods and a symbol of his power. As students of ancient history will know, it was Zeus who brought unity and harmony to the chaos of the heavens, establishing the rhythms of the seasons. And today, as the Olympic flame begins its journey to Milano Cortina 2026, we celebrate the same ideal, armonia, a harmony and unity that will bring all of Italy and all of the world together for the Olympic Games in just 72 days. The ceremony we are about to witness and the passing of the torch provides a symbolic bridge between antiquity and modernity. In 1960, the torch relay route for the Rome Olympic Games was designed to link Athens and Rome as the centers of classical civilization. As with those games 65 years ago, the Milano Cortina torch relay will respect our shared classical heritage, passing through Rome's imperial monuments, Pompeii, Appian Way, and regions of Magna Graecia, creating a story of continuity between ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and modern Olympism. Over the next few weeks, the Olympic flame will pass through all the Italian provinces, 60 cities, 300 towns, 20 regions, and all the UNESCO sites. It will travel from the northern peaks to the southern shores, carried by 10,001 proud torchbearers. One country, one story. The Italian spirit will shine brightly in the flame of the torch, igniting the whole of Italy and uniting the world in the common purpose which sits at the heart of Milano Cortina. To use the timeless power of the Olympic Games to create new opportunities for young generations through sports. 20 years ago, I was given the incredible honor of carrying the Olympic torch for the Torino 2006 Winter Games in Roma. It created an immense emotion that is still engraved in my heart. This time, as the proud president of the organizing committee for Milano Cortina 2026, it will be extremely privileged to carry the Olympic flame once again along the banks of the River Tiber onto the Olympic Preparation Center, founded by Giulio Nesti for the Rome 1960 Olympic Games, retracing the exact same route I ran 20 years ago. Every step, I and the thousands of runners take over the next 10 weeks will remind the world of the power of sport to build bridges, break down barriers, and together create a healthier and more sustainable future together. I wish to thank the President of the Hellenic Republic and the Hellenic Olympic Association for the work that they do to preserve and protect this sacred place. And I look forward to welcoming the world to Milano Cortina for next year's Winter Olympic Games. Thank you.
Now time for Kirsty Coventry, speaking for the first time at a flame lighting ceremony since becoming president of the IOC.
Please welcome now the first woman to lead the Olympic movement, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Mrs. Kouroi.
Thank you, and good morning to all of you. Dear President of the Hellenic Republic, Your Excellency Konstantinos Tassilos, to my dear colleague and friend, President of the Milano Cortina 2026, my dear friend, well done on your speech. All you wanted was a little kiss from me, so congratulations. To our honorary President Bach, to the honorary, to the Mayor of Olympia, to our dear sports ministers, both from Greece and Italy, to the President of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, to my dear fellow colleagues of the IOC, and please allow me to say all very important guests that are here with us today. I want to start by thanking our Greek hosts. And Your Excellency, outside when we welcomed you, you said to me, this place must have a special place and mean something special to me. But that journey started in 2004, and Greece changed my life, and it changed the path that I took. So it has more than a special place, and it will continue. It will continue to light and keep a light in my heart for the rest of my life. It is truly wonderful to be here today. And thank you, Your Excellency, for the role that you play and for all of your colleagues that have kept the cultural heritage of Olympia alive for generations. It is so important to the story that we tell of the Olympic Games, of the ancient Olympic Games, but of the modern Olympic Games. And the commitment that you have and that everyone in this room has to Olympia and to keeping the story of ancient Olympia alive does not go unrecognized. As I said, it's incredibly memorable and a little bit emotional for me to be standing here. The last time I was in this room, I was being introduced to you, Your Excellency, by our president, and you shared with me a little story that some of the first incredible mayors of this great nation were women. And I said to you, well, I hope to be the first woman of this incredible organization. And it is very special to be back here. And symbolic that the weather kept us from outside, but extremely symbolic to be standing in this exact spot where I first got to meet you. So I think things happen for a reason. But now we are here to celebrate the Olympic flame and the lighting of the Olympic flame and what that represents to each and every one of us. We are going to get to be in Milano Cortina in just a few weeks. And for me, that will be my first games as president. Over the past few weeks, we've gotten to truly understand what the Olympic spirit means, and we got to share with some of you the very start and essence of that last week at the UN when we got to hear the Olympic truce being observed, but not just observed, honored by member states. And it feels that the past and the present are really coming together. We are extremely happy that today's ceremony reminds us what the Games stand for. They're about bringing people together in peaceful competition, in friendship, and in respect. And as we light the Olympic flame from Milano Cortina, we will carry this light from the past to the present and continue it into the future. And it's a shared future that we all want to see. This is why we firmly believe in the Olympic truce, in laying down our differences and wanting to hope for a brighter future. As we heard, the flame will soon travel to Italy, a country where passion runs deep in the hearts of its people. From the vibrant Milano to the majestic Dolomites, the Italian Alps, this passion will inspire not just Italy, but it will inspire a world. And the heartbeat of the Games will shine through every moment. Today, we started a very symbolic day by standing at the foot of Pierre de Coubertin's tomb, where his heart is. And it was a special moment because it reminded us where the modern games started, as the emotions. These games come at a critical part in our history. Thank you. I wasn't supposed to get emotional, but this place is very special. And it's so special because in a divided world that we live in today, the Games hold a truly symbolic place. And it's our duty, it's our responsibility to ensure that the athletes from around the world can come together peacefully and that they can inspire the dreams and hopes of those around the world that are watching. This is the true Olympic spirit. They live the values that unite us. They show us the best of humanity, where no discrimination is seen on the field of play. That spirit can only flourish when every eligible athlete and team and official can take part. And the Olympic Games will always continue to exist to break down walls that are put in our way. The flame we light today carries not just the hopes of the athletes, but the dreams of all of those who believe in the power of sport. And that power of sport unites us and it inspires us. But it also reminds us that every Olympic Games is a part of a living tradition. It's connecting generations, cultures, and people across the various generations. This is a world that I am so proud to be living in, even with all its challenges. And I am so proud to be leading this organization, and I cannot wait to continue with all of you and the support of all of you to ensure that we inspire the next generation to come. Thank you.
Kirsty Coventry, watched by the Honorary President, the IOC Thomas Bach. Now we'll hear from Hellenic Olympic Committee President Isidoros Kouvelos.
The Hellenic Olympic Committee holds responsibility for the lighting ceremony and the safeguarding of the Olympic flame. We invite its president, Mr. Isidoros Kouvelos.
Your Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Konstantinos Tasoulas, Madam IOC President, dear Kirsty Coventry, distinguished guests, today on this sacred land, a land where time itself seems to pause, where the stones still whisper the stories of the first athletes, we're all here together once again for a light that belongs not only to one nation, but to all humanity. To the ancients, fire was a gift from the gods, a symbol of life, purity and truth. But it is no longer a divine fire, it is a human fire, the fire of courage, unity, reconciliation. The flame that was lit carries a deeper meaning, shaped by centuries of struggle, hope, and human evolution. If the winds and clouds urged us to light the flame earlier, let it be a sign that Olympia belongs to all elements: the sun, the wind, the rain, and sacred fire. And just behind us stands the Nike of Peonios, the winged symbol of victory, once raised to celebrate triumph in wars of war. Today, she looks upon a different kind of conquest, not to defeat of an enemy, but the victory of peace over conflict, of the human spirit over its own limitations. The flame now burns beside her, as if she descends once more upon this valley, blessing not armies, but athletes, showing that true glory in Olympia is forever linked with harmony among people. Over the centuries, Olympia gives the world the same promise, that sport can be a bridge stronger than the forces that try to divide us. President Giovanni Malagò, the journey that begins today carries with it the hopes of athletes from every corner of the earth. May this flame illuminate your mountains, your cities, and the hearts of your people, with the same purity with which it is born here. Madam President Kirsti Coventry, at this moment in history, when the world longs for voices of stability and unity, the Olympic movement stands guided by your leadership. You continue the same mission that began here 2,800 years ago, to show humanity a path towards harmony, respect, and peaceful coexistence. Your Excellency, President Tassoulas, your presence here today honors values that sprang from this very soil, values that continue to inspire nations, to believe in dialogue, cooperation, and hope. Ladies and gentlemen, as the flame now burns, where silence carries its own ancient wisdom and memory rests among the stones, let us feel its warmth within our souls and remember this simple truth. The Olympic flame carries no passport. It recognizes no borders, no divisions. It carries only the dust of the ancient gymnasium, the breath of the runners, the prayers of the priestesses, and the dreams of every child who dares to rise beyond their limitations. And now, as the flame begins its journey to Milano Cortina, may it inspire athletes to compete with purity, nations to meet with respect, and the world to remember what Olympia taught us long ago. Peace is possible when humanity chooses it. And when we choose light, darkness has nowhere to stand. Thank you very much.
Ήρθε η ώρα για την αφή της Ολυμπιακής φλόγας από την προθιέρεια Μερμηνά. Το τελετουργικό αφής
That
της
concludes
Ολυμπιακής
the
φλόγας
speeches
του
here
Σύρας,
in the
σκηνοθέτησε
Archaeological
και
Museum.
υπογράφησε η Άρτεμις Ιγνατίου, ενώ τη μουσική συνέθεσε ο Δημήτρης
Shortly, we'll be
Παπαδημητρίου. Με τη συνδρομή
changing location
και ίσως ενός ευγενικού
to the
νεύματος
Temple of Hera,
η Ολυμπιακή φλόγα άναψε ήδη
lighting of the flame.
It is now time for the lighting of the Olympic flame by the High Priestess, Merimina. The ritual of the lighting ceremony at the Temple of Hera is directed and choreographed by Artemis Ignatiu, with original music by Dimitris Papadimitriou. With the weather's cooperation and perhaps a gracious nod from Apollo, the flame was lit on Monday.
was the artistic director and choreographer Artemis Ignatiou, who has held this role since 2008. This is the Temple of Hera, Ancient Olympia. Priestesses making their way towards the site of the lighting. Sun's rays concentrated in the parabolic mirror. For the lighting, you can see the parabolic mirror. Just saw it in the bottom of your screen. Temple of Hera, dedicated to the Queen of the Greek gods. It was originally built in around 590 BC. Great continuity in this ceremony with Ignatiou, succeeding Horse, who was the choreographer for over 40 years. Horse was in fact one of the performers of the first modern Olympic flame lighting ceremony in 1936. Ignatiou worked under her first as a priestess back in 1988. Flame symbolizes purity, peace, and the eternity of the Olympic spirit, burned for the duration of each ancient Olympic Games. Once this flame is lit, it will remain lit until the closing ceremony of Milano Cortina 2026. See there, holding the bowl, is Estiada, the keeper of the flame. She's played by Joanna Strati. The High Priestess is played by Mary Mina, who first performed the role ahead of the Olympic Games Paris 2024. She will say a prayer to the god of the sun, Apollo, asking for his help to light the torch.
Ιερά σιωπή, να ηχήσει όλος ο αιθέρας, η γη, η θάλασσα και οι πνοές των ανέμων, όροι και τέμποι, σιγήστε, ήχοι και φωνές πουλιών, παύσατε, για τη μέλη να μας συντροφεύσει ο φίβος, ο φωσφόρος βασιλεύς. Απόλλωνα, Θεέ του ήλιου και της ιδέας του φωτός, στείλε τις ακτίνες σου και άναψε την ιερή δάδα για τις φιλόξενες πόλεις Μιλάνο και Κορτίνα, και εσύ, Δία, χάρισε ειρήνη σ' όλους τους λαούς της γης και στεφάνωσε τους νικητές του ιερού αγώνα.
Flame is lit as Stiarda returns to receive it in her bowl. Magnificent outfits have been designed by Mary Catansu. You can see a dance performance by the priestesses. See in the background there kouroi, real life statues of disciplines. Joining this performance using pose such as Dignitary. was the eternal awakening of chorus and kouroi, music composed by Dimitris Papadimitriou, and now led by the High Priestess Estiada, keeper of the flame. Priestesses will make their way from the Temple of Hera to the Archaeological Museum. There, the Temple of Hera, and now the Archaeological Museum of Olympia for the continuation of today's ceremony. Here, the High Priestess will arrive shortly and perform a last prayer in two parts. First in ancient Greek, the second another prayer will follow with the flame.
Mater, ο Χρυσοστεφάνων αέθλων, Ολυμπία, δέσποινα αλαθείας, ειν αμάντιες άνδρες, εμπείρις τεκμερώμενοι παραπηρώνται, Διός, αργή κεράβνου, ή την έχει λόγων, ανθρώπων, περιμεωμένων, μεγάλαν αρετάν θυμό λαβήν, των δε μόχθων, απνοάν. Απόλλωνα, Θεέ του ήλιου και της ιδέας του φωτός, έστειλες τις ακτίνες σου και άναψες την ιερή δάδα για τις φιλόξενες πόλεις Μιλάνο και Κορτίνα, και εσύ, Δία, χάρισε ειρήνη σ' όλους τους λαούς της γης και στεφάνωσε τους νικητές του ιερού αγώνα.
High Priestess takes an olive branch given to victors at Ancient Olympics.
Now the High Priestess Merimina will hand the Olympic flame to the first torchbearer, bronze medalist rowing at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, Petros Gaidatsis.
Here is our first torchbearer, Petros Gaidatsis.
Τίνελα, ω Καλλίνικε, τίνελα.
Flies and Petros Gaidatsis wins the torch relay here. He won bronze in the lightweight double sculls at Paris 2024 with Antonios Papakonstantinou. She turned 25 yesterday, so belated birthday to him. And he is accompanied by our first Italian torchbearer, Stefania Belmondo. 10-time Olympic medalist in cross-country skiing. Belmondo was Italy's most decorated Winter Olympian until short track speed skater Arianna Fontana took her medal tally to 11 at Beijing 2022. Fontana will be trying to increase that tally at Milano Cortina, trying to qualify in long track as well as short track. But back to Belmondo. She appeared at 5 games and won gold in the 30-kilometre freestyle at Albertville 1992. And the Tiny Tornado, as she became affectionately known, won her second Olympic title in the 15-kilometre freestyle at Salt Lake City in 2002. Belmondo also claimed 4 world titles, all in individual disciplines, 23 individual wins during her World Cup career, taking the Sprint Series crown in 1997. She's the first Italian torchbearer on this occasion, having been the last ahead of the Torino 2006 Games. Belmondo lit the Olympic flame during the opening ceremony, the last time the Winter Olympics were held in Italy. Now these two making their way to the Pierre de Coubertin monument, which was mentioned earlier by Kirsty Coventry. His heart is buried there. Founder of the Olympic movement was in accordance with his last wish. This memorial is located on the grounds of the International Olympic Academy, the slope of Crone Hill. Idatsis, as I mentioned, bronze medalist at Paris 2024. He and Antonius Papa Constantino also won bronze at the 2023 European Championships. Idatsis, no doubt, with one eye on Los Angeles 2028. He was born in Thessaloniki and grew up in Kalamaria. He trains at the Nautical Club of Kalamaria and studies medicine at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. He's actually a replacement slalom skier AJ Guinness, who won Greece's first Alpine Skiing World Championship medal in 2023 by taking silver in Chamonix, was due to be the first torchbearer, but he sustained an injury in training last week and had to pull out. He hopes to be 100% for the Games. So they're on their way to the Coubertin monument. You can perhaps see why Belmondo earned her nickname, the Tiny Tornado. It's a diminutive figure compared to Idatsis. Pierre de Coubertin, of course. The man responsible for the revival of the Olympic movement. Born in Paris in 1863, Coubertin admired English schools for their inclusion of sport and physical education. He believed that fair play on the sports field would help turn children into better adults, noting that organised sport can create moral and social strength. he was unable to persuade French schools to follow the English example of incorporating sport into the curriculum. But he did manage to enlist the help of the Greek government in the revival of the Olympic Games. And on the 6th of April, 1896, Panathinaik Stadium in Athens hosted the opening ceremony of the Games, the first Olympiad. We will return to the Panathinaik Stadium next week for the handover of the flame to the Milano Cortina 2026 organising committee. See, contrary to the forecasts, nice day here in Ancient Olympia. See the continuity from ancient to the modern Olympic Games with the flame, with that olive branch which was given to the winners as the pair now approach Coubertin Monument. There is Dionysios Kesaris, special guest today. He was the first torchbearer for an Olympic Winter Games ahead of the Innsbruck 1964 Games. A flame lighting ceremony took place in Olympia just a week before the Games got underway. Here lies the heart of Baron Pierre de Coubertin. Flame is handed over to another Italian Olympic great, luge legend Armin Zogala. Also known as the Cannibal. Makes his way up the steps to the International Olympic Academy. Back to Kesaris, who we saw briefly, now 81 years of age, former pole vaulter who has devoted his life to promoting sport and physical education, inspiring hundreds to embrace the values of discipline and fair play, teamwork and healthy living as espoused by Pierre de Coubertin. See Zogala. His turn with the Olympic torch. No other Olympic athlete, summer or winter, has won medals at 6 consecutive games. The same individual discipline. Zogala won men's singles medals at 6 consecutive games from Lillehammer 1994 to Sochi 2014. He won gold at Salt Lake City 2002 and on home ice at Torino 2006. He was 40 years old when he took bronze in Sochi. He actually hails from South Tyrol, the same region as tennis star Yannick Sinner, also a 6-time world champion. In front of the International Olympic Academy, Zugler hands over to artistic gymnast Demosthenes Tabakos, specialist in the rings. Won silver at Sydney 2000 and gold at Athens 2004. World champion in 2003. Currently serves as the chair of the Hellenic Olympic Academy. Accompanied by 3 former rowers. There's Skiathetis, lightweight double sculls bronze at Athens 2004. Yannis Silis and Stergios Papachristos both competed in the men's 4 at London 2012. Silis and Papachristos have dedicated their post-sporting career to Olympic education. And that concludes our coverage of the flame lighting ceremony. Beginning its journey through Greece with over 450 torchbearers covering 2,200 kilometres through 7 regions. Next Thursday, the 4th of December, will see the handover of the torch to the Milano Cortina 26 organising committee.